Hi folks, it's Switchback. Let's talk about some mistakes someone might make while they're getting ready for their first backpacking trip. Going out on the trail without any conditioning. You may not have trails necessarily right by your house, and certainly not ones that are going to be exactly like what conditions you're going to encounter when you're on the trail. But it's always a wise idea to do some practice, even if you're just walking around the block with your backpack on. Ideally, you could get onto some uneven terrain, do some hill climbing, or even on the Stairmaster or something like that. Some strength training is always a good idea. There's actually a channel called Chase Mountains, and he has some wonderful videos that are all about getting ready for the trail. And I know that he has some videos that are specifically geared toward people who don't have trails at home to practice on. But when you're not hurting and you're able to breathe, and you're, just not physically struggling on your first trip, it's a lot more enjoyable. And with that, going big, your first trip does not have to be 15-mile days. My trips are still not 15-mile days, even when I'm in my best condition. A lot of my days are 3 miles or 5 miles or 1 mile. And I've been backpacking since I was a kid. You don't have to bite off more than you can chew. It's okay to go small and start with where you are, whether it's your first trip or your 50th. Trying out gear for the first time on the trail rather than trying it out at home. When you're trying to figure out how to use your water filter and you're super thirsty, not a lot of fun. And especially, for example, I have taken out my Sawyer Squeeze and not primed it before a trip, and you're just getting drips and you're so thirsty and you just want to cry and you're super frustrated. And I've used my backup method, which is an Aquamira drops, which they then have to wait 15 minutes for. It's not a lot of fun. And so if you can kind of work out the kinks, do your research and everything ahead of time for your gear, it is a lot more enjoyable on the trail. Taking everything with you rather than doing a shakedown hike or a shakedown trip or a shakedown camping trip. So what I recommend doing before you go, let's say that you are doing a big trip, you're doing a thru hike, I'm going to say right now I'm not a thru hiker yet, maybe one day, but taking your stuff on a very short trip or on a car camping trip and kind of just taking what you would take on a backpacking trip, and you can kind of thin down from there. Okay, turns out I didn't use my chair. Turns out I didn't, even if you don't have a picnic table or something, I didn't use this, or I really wished I'd had this, or this thing sucks and I need to figure out another way to do this because I don't like this one. That's really going to help you have a better trip. Now, that said, trying to perfect your gear before you even set out there is not realistic. And this is a common mistake. People get so caught up trying to find the perfect tent, the perfect whatever, and you're not going to know what you want for sure until you're really getting out there and doing it. Even if it's the best tent that everybody else loves or whatever, doesn't mean it's the right one for you. You can research everything to death and, figure out what's the best sleeping bag for someone that's not even like you, or whatever footwear is right for someone who does not have feet like yours. But you've really got to figure out what's right for you, and that's going to just come with practice and experience. I still haven't perfected my gear. It is an ongoing journey. And waiting until you have it perfect before you go is a bad idea. And you can over-research and over-analyze and look for the highest rated this or the most popular that. Doesn't mean it's going to be the right item for you. Now, on the flip side of that, there is the opposite of under-researching and just buying, for example, the cheapest sleeping bag, the cheapest tent, the cheapest whatever. And that's a great way to be miserable. If you don't do your research, you don't know that you don't trust sleeping bag ratings, and you end up going in a 50-degree trip with a 50-degree bag and you're freezing your butt off. Been there. So to keep this from happening, ask questions, do some research, consider the conditions that you're going to be in. This will help you to stay safe and warm and having fun. Another mistake is not researching the conditions that you're going to be going into, including any permits that are required, any fire restrictions, and the reliability of any water sources. And certainly this can vary from time to, in the spring versus in the fall. And so can, fire restrictions, permits, rules change different times of the year. So it's really important that you do the research for the time that you're going and that you double check all of the conditions right before a trip. Another mistake is wearing brand new footwear right out the gate for your trip, and something that fits today, right now, without the foot swelling that happens on a backpacking trip. I have sold footwear. I have seen people come in and be like, we're doing Half Dome tomorrow. We all need boots. And it's like, it's a bad idea. It's a great way to get blisters and really, really sore and hurt and injured and just bad. Don't do it. You want to break stuff in before you go. At the very, very, very least, go with a style that you have worn before. I have worn brand new shoes on a trip when it was like my 4th pair of the same exact style, and I know it works for me. I have also worn the wrong footwear and ended up with some gnarly blisters out of it, so I do speak from experience on this. I'd love to hear any mistakes that you have made, and I have a whole video of other mistakes that I have made right over here. If you've gotten any value, be sure to give it a like and subscribe down below. It helps me to spread the word to more people. I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.